Surrounded Rob from YouTube.
And Big Rich, you all know us from Ohio Fish Rescue. And we're here, and we watch Jack and Dan all the time. You need to check that channel out. We got little Jack right here. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna push him in!
What's up, everybody? It's Jack and Dan.
And today, we're using these magnetic stirrers to make cyclones in our Green Lantern core fish tank.
Let's give it a shot. All right, so first off, what would you use a magnetic stirrer for?
Well, you would use it to use, mix in beakers or like scientific bottles to mix, solutions and things like that. But we actually got these from a wine company, and they're made to mix wine.
Right. Well, to give an effect of a tornado or a vortex or a cyclone inside of a wine bottle. Yeah. So normally these can be several $100s for like cool. Big fancy ones. You would put a beaker on it. You would put a solution on it. We found these on Amazon, 2 for $50. Okay, very cheap compared to those, but they seem to work very well. They do come with the little magnetic kind of pill.
It looks like an ad.
We're gonna show how that works. Yeah, it kind of looks like a big Tylenol or something, doesn't it? Now, how these work is they have a little USB. It's kind of like a little phone port. You plug it in. They come in a real nice box. Again, this company, we'll put a link in the description. Really cool company. This is Slender Mini Magnetic Scientific Research Home DIY. These were the cheapest ones we could find that still went a pretty good RPM. And they're pretty thin.
They're pretty powerful, yeah.
So we're going to put them up underneath the tank, but we're just going to show you guys. Go ahead and turn that on. Now, obviously, you want glass between this. You don't want to ruin the surface.
You're not supposed to use this crusty algae.
Well, this is just an old piece of glass we had. So that's magnetic. So right away when you put it on, it kind of magnetizes to it. So Jack's going to turn it up.
Now, if you want it to go fast, you have to start slow because
you can't just jack it up or it'll go flying across the room.
Yeah, you have to wait for it to level.
So there you go. So our theory was that if we could put this underneath the tank, this right here is simulating the bottom of the tank. Now, the bottom of the tank isn't even this thick because it's tempered glass and it's actually thinner. Yeah. So that's the theory. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of show you. Let's go ahead and we're going to take this guy right here. So let's take this off. Let's take this off. Go ahead and real gently kind of take that big thing of water right there. That's a vase, kind of like a...
It's really hot.
Yeah, well, I put warm water in there because I was rinsing it. Go ahead and set that on right on the center.
Perfect.
Now, what we're going to do to show you how this works is we're going to drop that little guy in there. Now, go ahead and turn it on.
I'm going to hold it just in case.
Nah, it's good. Go ahead and turn it on. And we could see how this whole vortex thing's going to work. Now, as you can see, as you turn it on, it'll find the center. Okay, you turn it up.
Right.
All right, there we go.
It's about to create a portal to another realm. As you watch.
Now, keep turning it up. Oh.
It might be too full.
It might be a little too full. Let's try again.
You can see the water starting to move.
Yeah, go ahead and turn it up. You just got to kind of go slowly. Yeah. We kind of
see the particle
DIY'd a few things. There it goes. All right, leave it there. Just leave it there. Perfect.
See the particles starting to move.
Now what happens is it starts this vortex by stirring.
That is so cool.
And it kind of sucks the air down the middle. And we thought this would be a really cool thing, an effect. But the problem is with the fish tank is we have to put this upside down because we have to be able to take it out. So we're going to go over to the tank and we're going to kind of show you what we did. But that's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really full, so it may not work right.
Yeah, this is big. I mean, but just to give people the idea, what a super cool effect. What we're going to do is put these actually upside down, and we got some special domes that we're going to show you. But that's basically how that works. Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Let's go over to the tank, show them what we did. Now, if you didn't see our last video, this is going to be a series. The first video will link in the description. And that's going to go over how we put the Green Lantern light on here. That's a simple LED light. We cut a hole in the black paint in the back and mounted it on the back. Now, what we had to do for these spinners is we obviously had to bring them up so they would be all the way up to the glass. Well, we thought one of the cheapest ways to do it would be some buckets and bricks since we had them around the house. These were like, what, $2 at Mark's, dude?
Yeah.
And then we had bricks around. So we put the buckets upside down, propped up the bricks, and basically put the little spinners on there. use some cardboard to really wedge them in there good. And you can see how we kind of did that. So those are now right against the glass. And that is tempered glass on the bottom of an aquarium, right? I think anything above a 55 is tempered.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's how it is.
It's like your phone glass. It doesn't shatter, it just cracks into a bunch of pieces.
Right, if you were to hit it really hard, but the tempered part makes it very hard. So you can kind of see here through the top, the buckets, the bricks, the cardboard. These things we kind of obviously took a ruler and measured them, as it's all going to be part of our design. Now the reason that we did this kind of thing with the Hurricane is because we want this spinner. One of the things we realized is if sometimes these spinners will kind of get off track, right? They'll kind of
sometimes they'll go to the edge or something like that.
Right. Now, if they do that, what we can do here, and you can see my hand going through the bottom here, is you can kind of slow it down. And if you slow it down, it'll refine the middle. It'll actually jump right back over to the middle, and then you can kind of turn it back up, and you can turn it up pretty high. Okay, you can see that thing kind of going. We did put just a little bit of water in here just to get things going, just to kind of show how they would be. Now, the thing is this isn't going to form a vortex if there is an air, oxygen. But we didn't want to put a glass down in here and have to move the gravel away every time. So what we did is we found these. These are like domes. And there's two things really awesome about these. For one thing, they're very thick and very heavy, and they also have this big handle on top, which makes it easy to take in and out and adds extra weight. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to fill it up with water, and then that way these will be kind of anchored in with the gravel around them, and we'll be able to basically just take these on and off and put it down into the gravel like that. And we will leave a little bit of air in there so that the vortex will come down. The other thing it will do is it will protect the fish, so the fish will not be able to get in there and they won't be affected in any way by this vortex. The other thing is of course, without being open to the fish, this isn't going to get cleaned. So we will be able to basically turn those off and then take this and take it out and clean it. And we'll probably just take that pill out of there. And the plecos, whatever kind of algae eaters we have, we'll go in here and clean that out. Probably take them just like a day or so, right? Yeah. And then we'll put these back in. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to fill it up more with water. Let me put this back over here. That's where the gravel is that we're making up. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill this more up with water. We're going to try to put the vortex things on top. We're going to see how they work. And hopefully this all works out well. Okay, so we've got a few inches of water in here now, and you can see how these are working. They're working pretty awesome. Definitely causing there to be like a vortex in there. It does kind of come and go depending on the stability of that magnet, but it's working pretty awesome. Now again, with that dome on top, we will be able to keep a certain amount of air in there, and that's the idea, is to try to suck that air down and make that vortex. It's pretty awesome to see it from the side, isn't it?
Even if it doesn't go down all the way, it still looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. And with all the under gravel lights we're going to have and everything too. We have found that if you turn it up, you can see the little dial up there on the thing. If you turn it to about halfway, it works pretty well. If you turn it up higher than that, I'll show you guys. I'll start turning it up. You can see my hand. Well, you can't see now because of reflection, but I'm going to start turning this one up just to give you an idea. If you turn it up higher, it does get more powerful, but it tends to, see that, how it loses? So what you can do to recenter it is you turn it all the way down to 0. You don't turn it off, you just turn it down. And see how it recenters itself? Isn't that cool? And then it finds the middle, and then you start turning it back up again. And as it starts to kind of recenter itself, then you can see it starts sucking that tornado down again. And so that's the idea, is basically just to keep it centered. That's why we're going to have it in this Hurricane, because that's going to kind of keep it centered. But we can leave that in there all the time, and if it loses its centering, we can do that. So you can see now the water's getting a little too tall for it to pull down, and that's why we're going to put those domes in. So we're going to get these domes kind of positioned here. Jack's going to take over the camera, And I'm gonna kind of show you how I'm gonna do this dome thing, okay? Basically how this dome is gonna work is we're gonna put it in here like this, and we're going to leave a certain amount of air in it. Kind of something like that, okay? And then we're gonna lift it up over top of this. See how that vacuum stays in there? And then we're gonna put it down on top. Okay? Oh, it doesn't want to sink. Basically, that's close to what we're gonna do though. Okay?
Well, that works perfect.
Yeah, we're gonna probably have to take a little more of that. See how it's still kind of trying to float? So we're gonna have to take a little bit more of that out. But basically what we'll be able to do is pick that up and let it down, leave a certain amount of air in it, and just stick it down into the gravel. And then if it gets dirty, we'll just be able to take it out. But you can see right through it. You don't even really notice that hurricane inside of this one, you know?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
That's neat.
Let's try it with a little more air in it. Or a little less air. So that'll be in the gravel. So let's try to let a little bit more of that air out. Just kind of burp it out. And then let's try it again. Pick it up. Isn't it amazing how just the tiniest bit of air can cause that to float? It's almost unbelievable, isn't it? Gotta let a little bit more out, too.
It's a very light piece of glass, that's probably why.
You don't need a ton of air in there to get that vortex. All right, that seems like it's going to sink pretty well. All right, there we go. Now, oh, look at that. It's still doing it. So you just need a little bit of air in there to suck it down. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, we could probably leave these on most of the time and then just adjust them. Now, let me see if I can kind of turn it up a little bit. If it'll stay centered. See, as I turn it up a little bit, it's pulling that air down a little more. Turn it up a little more, see? Oh, got off centered. So you really got to kind of just find the right speed. Now it got off centered. I put it down to 0. Let's see if it finds the middle. It's trying. I mean, it's definitely a cool feature. It's definitely a neat thing, but it's definitely something we kind of have to, you know, mess around with until we get it right. We might be able to use a smaller hurricane. You know, there's different things that you can do with this. It's kind of funny. But basically, you get the idea. So I'm going to go turn this water off. We're going to mess around with this a little bit more, see if we can get them both going. So if you have the dome filled up with water right to the top of the hurricane, then you don't even notice the hurricane because it's at like the meniscus there. Remember meniscus? That's a cool science word from science class.
I think we learned that in 6th grade.
It's like right where the water level is in a tube like that.
Yeah.
Which is right there. So that's kind of cool because you don't notice the hurricane because it's right at the same level. Here we've got it a little bit higher and you kind of notice it, but it's kind of cool. This one's working pretty well on this side. It's starting to come up and down, and that's pretty cool. This one kind of lost center, so we turned it down all the way. Sometimes if you turn it off and then you turn it on just low, it tends to find the middle. See that? Isn't that cool? You hear that switch? So then you just start turning it up. And like I said, about halfway. Well, that one's going good now. And it starts to just form that cyclone. Now what we might do, oh look at that, see right at the top starts to come down. What we might do is we might make that hurricane a little bit smaller. We might try to find one smaller. We're just totally experiment, guys. Never really did anything like this before. And hopefully the whole dome thing will just keep any kind of fish or anything away. We'll be able to pop that dome off. The fish can go in there, do whatever. We're not going to have any kind of fish in here that are going to be able to eat that spinner, that stirrer.
No.
They call it a stirrer. So actually we could probably just leave that in there. Take the dome off every month or so. Let the plecos go in there.
It's just going to be the plecos and the glowfish.
Yeah. Clean that all out. And then put the dome back on, you know, and it's really cool. See, check that one out. That one's working really good. So this actually was a little challenging. But it's working out. It's working out. It's something that we're definitely going to have to mess around with as far as the level of the, you know, air in there and stuff like that. But so far, we got these 2 domes and we got 2 vortexes. And let's kind of back up a little bit. We didn't fill it the rest of the way with water because we still got lots of other things to do. We are going to have multiple under gravel lights in this. We're also going to have black lights. We're also going to be having stuff all over this wall. This was the most complicated part about this design that we have never done before, so we wanted to do it first. And as you can see, it's coming along. It's definitely not as powerful as we thought it would be, and they do tend to lose center if you turn them up too much. We did try really small hurricanes, and if they don't have the freedom to move around enough, they actually just bang into the glass and they don't work at all. So a lot of people are probably going to say, hey, just put one real small one. That actually doesn't work either. They have to have more room. There it goes. That's pretty cool. So we're definitely going to keep messing around with this. Now, obviously, the gravel's going to be up a couple inches, so you're not really going to see. That's what you're going to see, is really just that vortex kind of reaching down like that. So that's going to be neat. All right, so far so good. We turned off the other lights in the room just to get an idea. This is what both of the vortexes look like. They are functioning, they are working, not exactly how we want them to, but they are working. All of this stuff is hooked up and made it up to the top. That was a little challenging. I think what we're probably gonna need to do is take the air out a little bit, but then this thing's gonna float. So even though it's this heavy, it's amazing how just the tiniest bit of air floats. So we'll probably end up super gluing something to the bottom of it to add more weight to it, or to the back of it, or possibly even inside, up in here. You know, something that can help weigh it down, maybe another piece of glass of some sort, or even a rock, you know, something that will help to weigh it down. So at the end of the day, the first, you know, line of working with this is done. It came out, we got it hooked up. This tank is really gonna be magnificent. With all the crazy stuff we're putting in here, we have more glass sculptures, more lighting, but we wanted to get these kind of figured out first. So it is pretty neat. I mean, I've never tried anything like this. Jack is like, you were like, hey, I've never seen anybody do anything like this in an aquarium, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like how it just like spins. It looks like a energy thing.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna look cool. We're gonna get some under gravel lights. We're gonna try to take this air down more. So again, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so that you will see the follow-up video. It'll be in a week or two. We have other videos that we, you know, put in between these kind of, you know, videos because we're just busy doing all kind of stuff. But probably in a week or two, we will show further progress on this tank. I'm gonna stand up and back up just so you could see. I mean, so far it's really coming along good. Love how the Green Lantern tank logo looks. This whole wall is actually going to be filled with art pertaining to the Green Lantern. We're going to have lights coming up, hanging over. We're going to have black lighting. It's going to be really cool. We're going to have some really cool and unique fish in here. This is going to be a great, great, great project. It is going to be a 5 or 6 video series, just like a lot of our tanks are, because this was a complete refurbish, right?
Yeah.
This was a beat up old tank. We had to clean it. We had to fix it up. We didn't reframe it, but we did have to kind of clean up this stand, fix it up, and we did reseal it to make sure it didn't leak. So, guys, stay tuned, and we'll see how it goes. But so far, just for, you know, messing around with this for an hour or two, so far we're pretty amazingly happy about how this is coming out. It's a really cool thing that we've never tried before.
The little mixers seem to work a lot better when they're underwater.
They do. When you try them out of water, they don't work as well. Yeah, I mean, what a cool thing. I mean, for $50 for these 2 mixers, this is going to give it a really cool effect that we have never done before. Guys, stay tuned. We will be back soon with this and finishing this design. We'll see you next time, guys.
Bye-bye.